is Griffin.
My tummy hurts. Pretty good, Brendan. What's going on, guys? Nick with Off the Chart Trading. I'll be doing today's recap for Tuesday the 11th. Figured I'd do it a little earlier than usual because we might head out, and I don't want to rush home to try to knock this out, and I don't really expect too much to change over the next couple hours, so I figured I would do it right after the bell. Overall, solid day. I mean, I didn't do the video yesterday, but yesterday was just crazy. Let's pull this up, make this, come on, maximize. I mean, it was looking pretty bad yesterday, and then just a complete 180 going out near the highs, and then confirmation today. You can see the color-coded candles are changing colors, basically saying that it's right above the 21 and pretty close. I mean, it's literally 3-4 ticks away from getting above the 8. So far a 180. Let me see if I have that little tool. I was gonna see. I guess I really don't need it. Everyone in the room's familiar with the pattern. I just coined it and I name it Wolverine, where you have one candle that's lower with a wick. Second one doesn't necessarily be that crazy of a wick, but has a wick. But on the third one, you're closing above that, but it also had a wick. So then you can kind of see the 3 wicks. Makes me think of Wolverine. I'm a Marvel nerd. So I've coined that. But typically what that pattern means, and you can use it in the same as a reversal. So if you flip the chart, which we can do, let's put a negative. I never tried for the futures, but put a negative sign. Just once again, I'm a visual person, so you can see it. You know, that would look, this chart would look horrible. You know, if you were long, this is not what you'd want to see in the same kind of concept. So once again, fun fact, you can put a minus sign in front of whatever you're looking at, and it will flip the chart. So if I saw this, I'd be incredibly worried. You know what I mean? So if I was long. So obviously this is how it really looks, but the same concept. So I thought the 200 would be in play. That's that dark blue line. We came pretty close to it back on 1220, bounced off nicely, and then yeah, pretty close, but nothing too crazy. And then, like I said, having a nice reversal today. So as I was just saying in the room right before we ended it, that I would look potentially, this is kind of the make or, you know, go, no go area. I was looking for a close above 4,700. We did end up getting that. So I would kind of target 1.5's candle where the initial selling was. I'll show on the profile too that there wasn't that much volume and there wasn't much time. So if we can, you know, build out overnight up here, I wouldn't be shocked if it's pretty quick that we can easily shoot up another probably 50, 60 points, maybe be back at 47.60, something along those lines by tomorrow. But it's one of those, this was great, this is what you look for, a crazy reversal, even more aggressive on the NQ, which we'll take a look at real quick, and then great follow through. Once again, they try to bring it back down, and where do we go out? At the highs. So that's super bullish. NQ, even crazier. I mean, this was a 400 point reversal. Not as, I mean, the pattern is still the same, but obviously from the EMAs, you still have a lot more, you know, room ahead of you. So ES definitely looks stronger. S&Ps in general look stronger. But this is definitely what you want to see. Once again, that kind of Wolverine pattern unfolding, and NQ also going out. So 400 point reversal from there and another 200 points today. So pretty crazy. Could we trade sideways, have a balanced day tomorrow? Possibly. I mean, it would make sense, especially after this move. But considering the volatility we're in, the Fed potentially raising, you know, it's all over the place. You got Diamond saying that's actually super bullish if they only do 4, and you know, you're hearing as low as 2. So I don't think anybody really truly knows, other than that there will be increases. So market's trying to digest that, and always it's a forward-looking mechanism as far as the way the markets look. And it's not so much where the markets could be in 6 months, but you know, a year, 5 years, and so forth. So as we digest everything, I listened to Powell today. I didn't really take away anything there wasn't anything bearish, so maybe that's bullish, you know, in that sense, mixed with Diamond's comments from yesterday. And I think we have a nice little rally on our hands, so we'll just have to see. Same concept though, you know, you had that massive puke on 1.5, and I'm sure if I looked at the profile on the NQ, it would look very similar. But overall, the one thing I did mention, and it was starting to look real ugly, is for this is a weekly candle going back 5 years. We did break below the 34, and I was telling people in the room, like, this could get ugly, because that was the first red candle that I've seen since March lows. So that is, to me, almost a full-on, trend breaking. If we were to break below the 34, those candles go red. So we were only down there for a little bit, and then here we are closing above not only the 30 or the 21, but getting pretty close to the 8. So we'll just have to see how if this move continues, but definitely bullish so far. Let's take a look at the internals. I mean, pretty solid. Little weakness out of the gate, but for the most part, it was a reversal, and then we kind of just traded, that slow float higher after about, I think, about 12:30 or so. All the indexes looking fairly similar. Some maybe a little more volatile, but yeah, that initial drop, a little more volatility to the first hour, hour and a half, and then almost all the indexes, all of them going out at the highs. Breath ratios were some of the more solid numbers we've seen lately. VIX too, kind of picked up a little bit towards the end of the day and then sold off into the close, but 18.20 low. The trend still pretty low, and the put call dropped quite dramatically. It was, I think we went at 0.76, 0.78, at one point above 0.8. So we were getting a little more, a lot of people were leaning bearish the markets, and that's typically what happens. The opposite happens, and yeah, people losing money on both sides, aka chop. Gold had a pretty solid day. Nice rebound on Bitcoin. Bitcoin dropped below 40,000 and then was bought up pretty aggressively to get us back up, almost 2,800 points on the day. The yen was picking up, which is interesting. I was noticing that, and then also bonds were having a decent day. Freaking oil at 81.48. That's crazy. TNX I think was the main takeaway. We talked about that. You could see this is almost like a Wolverine pattern right here. So this actually might be good. The TNX, which is basically the 10-year Treasury, might be dropping. It'd be technically 1.7. You can round up or down to say 1.74 right now. When it got up to 1.8, there was talks of it going back up to 2 and stuff. But we fell from it yesterday, and then there's more of a follow through today, dropping it. So that's good. If this comes back down, then I wouldn't be shocked to see NQ specifically head higher. As far as winning index, NQ up almost a point and a half there. Everything else just about 1% or a little less. Dow lagging, which is funny because Dow's actually been one of the more stronger ones. Not so much this week, but while everything else was kind of weak and sideways. You'd have days where the NQ is down 150 points and the Dow was up, like 200-300 points on the day. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there. Can take a look at the sectors themselves. I'm still thinking banks might be one of the better plays going into the next couple months. I did get out of my XLF trade. Nice, I think 50-60% return, something along those lines. Trade started out almost down 50% because I was a little early to the idea, but XLF going out at the highs, pretty close to all-time highs again here. Talked about in the room, might do a trade for JP Morgan off of Diamond's comments, because you're not going to go on TV and go anywhere and talk about how you think this is the strongest we've been in decades, and your earnings are not going to represent that or show that. So I think the banks will beat. I think the banks will do well, and that might kick off earnings season and might get us all-time highs. Everything else pretty good. I mean, interesting to see Staples pick up, still finish red on the day. Healthcare, nice reversal from yesterday. Semiconductors as well. I know some of the people in the room traded AMD and NVIDIA. XLK was pretty solid. So I'm sure Microsoft and Apple have been decent days. Energy, that's obvious with oil being up. I think Brett was mentioning Exxon hitting not all-time highs, 52-week highs. So the oil play, energy in general has been pretty solid. I think that's going to be a short. I just don't know when. Not that I would naked short futures oil, but maybe taking puts in XLE. It's nearly impossible to time the market, but maybe wait another couple months and then put on a short position going into the rest of the year or something. Just an idea. Nothing else really. I mean, home builders, nice reversal. Real estate was really getting hit early and then kind of came back to where it closed the previous day. But, industrials, energy, financials, semiconductors, XLK, and healthcare, those 5, which are some of the bigger ones, not so much energy, but you got 30% almost, you got 10%, and some of the other ones that are 10% or so really leading the charge. But like I said, overall solid day. There was pockets of weakness, but overall most of them were pretty good. Let us end on the profile. Like I said, this is just crazy. Going all the way down here, rebounding all of it, having balance, which that was, going out at the highs was incredibly bullish. And then this isn't the best profile, but the one thing from that overnight is the fact that that this spike was accepted. Balance was building out here, which is bullish. And then we had a little bit of weakness, what is that, A and B period? Yeah, firstly, that first 30 minutes, only 80 contracts traded at the lows, so nothing too crazy. Little bits of pocket of volume down here. Most of it seemed to be around the 46.50, but VPOC, going out right around there. But, halfway through the day, we get back above half. Well, it would have been a different halfback, but I'm just saying VWAP halfback all here, and then we just continued the most time spent at 46.83.50, and then we just continued higher, and then boom, going out at the highs, and then here we are building out now. So what I was talking about is the way I view market, not so much market profile, but volume profile, is since I'm visual, like I look at these as mountains. Where is it going to be easy to climb? Here. Look out, there's no mountains, there's no hills, Obviously, you get up to the top, you're tired, it could potentially slow down before you get past it. But, think of these as, ceilings or, the roof or whatever the case may be. So you can kind of see, and we balanced, a lot of VPOCs. And I talked about that, I think, last week's video when we were balancing all through here. There was a lot of time and a lot of volume spent, 47.80, 47.79, I think was one of them. So there's a lot of volume and a lot of time for almost a week and a half, 2 weeks up here, and then obviously we left balance, went super low and then came back up. But my point is there is not that much volume up here, from basically 47.30 up. So if you get up here, whether it be overnight or early tomorrow, that's probably a pretty easy trade for SPY calls, Q calls, whatever you want to play, because since it was such emotional selling, you have single prints all the way through here for the most part. I wouldn't be shocked if we end up seeing, if we do end up getting higher. Like I said, this is kind of a go, no-go area that the market really needs to be either balancing tomorrow and then bullish on Thursday, or we break out. Because if we can break above this, I wouldn't be shocked if we end up coming back up here, back to that 47.80. Doesn't mean it's going to happen this week, but I'm eyeing where there was almost no volume and there was almost no time recently spent, and that would be in here, kind of the meat of the move if we do end up moving higher. Let's just say we slowly get up to 47.30. I wouldn't be shocked if algos and whoever else just jumps in and pushes this thing up, 20 points fairly quick. Then obviously once we get up here, it's a whole nother story, but you just look for certain areas for a potential trade idea. So it's a little early, but once again, if this happens, I think of it as like a bus stop. You go from A to B to C. So far, that massive reversal was A. We got B today, so maybe we see C tomorrow, in the sense of potentially getting up to this area. And like I said, if we do end up getting anywhere in here, not to give specifics, but more areas, like I said, maybe 47.30 all the way up to, 47.55, something up here, I wouldn't be shocked if we caught that pretty quick, and, plus 600 ticks, plus 1,000 ticks, and maybe even single prints all the way through this, and then start balancing up here. Like I said, will it happen tomorrow? It's really going to be dependent on where we open. And but like I said, once again, if this, then this, then this would be the next part of where I would focus on trying to see. So for you guys that are futures traders, or potentially going to scalp tomorrow with SPY and stuff, depending on where we open. If we open up over here, the ES opens up 9:30 tomorrow, we're already up at this area, then you've already missed the meat of the trade. But I would, in a perfect world, we balance, basically meaning that you see a profile like this overnight where most of the move is accepted up here, which is bullish, and then we open up, get up around here, and then maybe rocket higher for a mix of short covering, and then because there was no volume up here. That's just how I read it. Like I said, I think the profile is more of an art than a science. There's no right or wrong way with certain things, so that's just what I'm looking for. Anyway, hopefully it's been helpful, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Take care.